Good morning, and we are here. Former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, former Senator of Maryland County, and also former Justice Minister. We've come to speak with her on several national issues. My name is Prince Moba, and this is Focus on Liberia Television. We live here from her compound here on 16th Street in Cinco. Councillor Scott, good morning and welcome to this interview. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you and good morning.
Okay. How you been doing? I'm not too sure that Focus on Liberia interview before. I think this is the first time.
Yes, I think so. Really, let me just say, my voice not too good.
Yeah.
So if you hear me coughing or I sound differently, I have a cold.
Okay. So how you been doing?
Well, we thankful and grateful to God for each day.
Okay. So, Councillor Scott, our interest was drawn when you make a public statement the last time when you spoke at the Liberia Party a political engagement. And that was on last month, where you spoke about the Liberian society, talking about the fabric of the society. That value, that moral value that we stood for. You say in every sector, we slept.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the background of that statement? Looking at you, someone who is a lawyer, someone who has served in several government positions and capacities. Why? What drives that? What drives that statement?
Well, the context of my statement is where we are as a country, and many of us from day to day, and we think that's it. That the problem we are experiencing with our children, some middle-aged persons, and even some elderly persons, there's a context. And the way I look at this solution to that problem is that we need to do politics differently. Why do I say that? I say that because, like you say, I was at the Liberty Party's political event. We belong to different parties, but there's a common denominator, and that's the Republic of Liberia. And that's the people we serve, we who find ourselves as opinion leaders, as the political class, as the economically, wealthy class. We have a common denominator, and we serve the same group of people that we have come out of. And by the grace of God, we'll be able to stand with some prominence. And those people represent us, and they define us. They define our descendants. They define our ancestors, the Liberian people, the Liberian youth. So the question is, like you said, I made this declaration that every sector of the Republic is in crisis. So how did that happen? How did that come about? It came about because there has been a very, very noisy and enthusiastic minority that the silent majority has allowed to drag all of us and the Republic to where we are now. And so, if we want to solve this or begin to solve this problem, to give this country a different direction, to pull it back from where it is sliding, we who are in the different classes that I have described, we need to sit and see ourselves as being part of a whole. And for us to have the wisdom that we can test our politics or whatever adversarial condition we find ourselves in, we cannot practice it from the standpoint of violence, of antagonism, or antagonistic, conduct and behavior, because it serves nobody. To continue to be on this brink or within the circle of violence, everything we do, it has an undertone of violence. But now we should be wise enough to know that violence has not solved any problem for us. It has not. And it has allowed us, or we have allowed ourselves to edify violence.
How?
The more vocal you are, the more belligerent you are. Maybe you rewarded with a job.
Okay.
You rewarded with some prominence. Everybody hold you in esteem. We gotta stop that. What we need to turn us around, the basic eternal principles of honesty, truth, integrity, credibility. That's the only thing can turn us around. And we as a people, in whatever small sector of the population we find ourselves, be it the family, be it the school, be it the religious institution, everything we do has to be based on truth. Those are eternal principles. When we turn away from those principles, the society will implode from inside and it will disintegrate.
So just give us a picture during your day, coming up as a young lady, going to school. High school, going to law school, becoming a lawyer, practicing law in Liberia. How was it then? How do we respond to these kinds of situations when they arise? And how is it now? Has it been happening gradually and we're giving rise to it? Give us a picture of those time and now, and how do we respond to issues like this? Because there were crises, there were political differences, there were disenchantment,
Well, when I was a girl, and I consider myself blessed because the two women who played a major role in making me who I am today, both of them had the same message.
Okay.
Your life will be different. They said it in different words, but that's the message from both of them. And that's the hope I came up with. If I get educated, whatever is happening to me, it will be different tomorrow. Because of my education, my life will be different. Yes, Liberia was saying, perfect. There were situations that happened. But at the end of the day, there was somebody somewhere who could say, this is wrong. I just gave you, sorry for being long-winded.
That's the essence of the
I just gave you an example. My name that my parents gave me, my father and my mother. My first name is Maya. My father's name is Musu. So my mother carried me and registered me to Bishop Cllr school on the capital bypass, Maya Musu. At the beginning of the school, they call the roll. So when you call my name, everybody will bust out and laugh. Our first name, a man name, a second name, a woman name. During those days, Liberia was so, I would call it wannabe. Everybody wants to be Western. So my name sounded strange. Maya Musu. So everybody would laugh at my name. So as a result, I dreaded going to school. My mother, every morning, she had to pull me, beating me. You will learn book. The book I didn't know. Your father said he want me, he want woman who know book. You will learn book. So that was a situation until I was living with my mother. Until I came to live with my father and his wife. And then she asked me, what's your name? Because my mother had told me the woman in Maryland who her parents had given her to when she got pregnant with me here in PTC because they came down to Monrovia. The woman had given me the name Gloria. Yeah. So when my stepmother asked me, what's your name? I said Gloria Musu. So at least I have one anglicized name. Yeah. So when I started school on this side now, away from my mother, it was a little different. Gloria Musu. So they just used to be, after class or something. But how can you last in a Musu near a woman? But they didn't used to cause that big laughter. So I'm telling you, people in the society. Then when I went to CWA, it started all over. In the 7th grade, Gloria Musu, when they call in roll, all of us who had that indigenous name, the class would laugh. Then they should kiki. Gloria Musu, they would laugh. Until a quote unquote Congo woman stood up. She was a homeroom teacher. And she told us she never wanted to hear again anybody laugh at anybody's name. Everybody come from a different background. I'm just telling you about people. The situation wasn't perfect, but there were people around who could correct situation. And I tell you, since that day, that woman stood up. I never forgot her name. Her name was Cecilia Perkins Cooper. 100% common woman. But she was able to correct a situation. And because all of us were children, so, because she stood and made her statement, nobody laughed at anybody's name again. So, by the time the year ended, we became one in our class. We were only children. Nobody was concerned about how your name sounded, how your name was different from the anglicized or the western sounding names. But the situation we're in now, even those few, they're so silent. They so accept it. Their whole situation has become normalized.
Nobody is speaking.
Even in the family. When girls begin to go astray, having, affairs here and there, they're even covered by their parents. After her parents say, oh, my daughter lucky. Even though that man married, but he can support us. Enough for that game. Even during the war. So all of this has become so normalized. In school, like you say, we're happy those days. School like CWA, the College of West Africa, parents used to come and give their children in the auditorium 25 legs. But these days now the parents say, like what, child abuse, human rights. There was a support system between the parents and the school. Our teachers, we almost saw them like superhumans. They were not normal. They were not normal. To us, they were not normal. And when we graduated, like me, I graduated from college before I realized that they were normal. They were normal human beings. Because they were just up there, the kind of standards they set for us. You could be on the steps or see that the air running up there. When they close the door, you outside. You're not coming to, this time the students got pet name for their teachers. They're eating together. Some police people tell me that even where they do drugs, some teachers go there with the students in their uniform. It never happened. I mean, it wasn't perfect because we didn't have, but we had that impression that our teachers, I'm talking about this pastor, because the pastor used to preach truth. I don't care whose child you were or whatever. I see them here that time. You made 69, the passing grade was 70, you made 69. You repeat the whole class. You will sit in our class the following year, you made 69 in one subject. It was later on that the whole concept of summer school came. So that's the kind of, so we knew there were standards. We knew life was a gradual process. You don't just, like a child. You got to learn to sit before you crawl, before you stand up, before you walk. That's what we knew, that life is a process. But all the what has happened and being encouraged, even the churches, who they honor this time, who got money.
Okay. Great conversation with Councillor Gloria Musu. So, folks, my name is Prince Moba. This is a Focus on Liberia Television with Pram FM. We hear this morning in conversation with former Chief Justice Gloria Musu Scout, former Senator of Maryland County, and also former Justice Minister, head of the Constitutional Reform Committee, right? Great. Your review committee, yeah, sorry for that. Okay, so Councillor, this brings me to my next question. I like the free use. The silent majority has given, a lot of loss of minority voice overshadow. That's a good one. So then let's talk about the societal value. I agree with from the political class, but let's go to the commoners, the locals. How then that moral respect is lost from the home? You just told me that we saw our parents at superhuman, and you're right.
The teachers, not for parents.
I
tell you some of my father's racketeer.
Yeah.
Theory he did, he would be shot.
You're right. So where has the family gone wrong to? We parents, what are we accepting? And I'm sure from the home it goes to government. For the homes, it goes to the larger society.
The question you asked is so huge. The old, lack of a better word, the old Congo people say humongous. But like you said, the home. Like my father, one of his relatives, he said every time you make my uncle sound like. But our mother and my stepmother, she made us to understand. She was like the anchor of the home. And we understood, at least I understood from her, that what was right, what was wrong. I understood it from her. When my father does some of his escapades, she and myself would have a conversation. And she would tell me, oh, Gloria, you see where you partying? And she would lay out for me, as young as I was, because I came to live when I was 8 going 9. So she would call me, and in the beginning I used to, I don't know what I can do to my body. Why? She would call me in her room, and she would explain things to me. And she would tell me, she said, look, Gloria, go to school and pay attention in school. Because a woman who is able to earn her own money, it puts her in a place where she will decide what is happening to her, whether she and her children should continue to experience it, or she can make other decisions. So the whole situation that I talked about, the noisy, the minority, There was an air about the community, what is right and what is wrong. They won't come in your home and tell you what to do and what not to do. But you yourself, when you committed some of those acts, you know, when you come in home, you like I can remember my father, when he come in home, you can see the embarrassment on his face. You can see, you know, so it gave the impression that there was an air that people knew, excuse me, when they were doing wrong. And the society, so they knew. But now, wrong has been normalized. It has been normalized. When you're in government position and you don't accumulate a lot of wealth, you say, oh, you went around there and made big. Yeah. More stupid. Oh, former Chief Justice. Chigaka. Oh, former. Oh, what kind of woman that? What kind of man that? You mean you are whole minister of finance, deputy minister? But what you did for yourself?
It appears normal in the society.
Yes. You know, it wasn't like that before. Or maybe that air of innocence or whatever. Maybe, I mean, it can't come back because once you lost it, it's gone. But when you begin to understand that there are consequences, when you violate those eternal principles of honesty, dignity, the respect for another person, you know, the respect for rules, the respect for the whole sense of service, is not to understand that it's not about you. It's about the opportunity to do right. That's what these positions, I believe they are about. The opportunity to help to turn us around. So the noisy minority, and that for me, I mean the noisy, the silent majority, I will hold them responsible to a certain degree for what has happened. Because the majority know a different place and not saying anything.
And who could the silent majority be?
The ordinary people, the rank and file. Like you even go in my village, you go there and see. Like one time when I was senator, and there's this tree, I haven't seen it, but they told me about it. It's in the forest in Cllr and maybe Barobo. They say there's a particular tree, the people come from Ghana. They come by boat. And they will follow the root of the tree in the ground. Everything about that tree. They cut it up. They put it in trucks, carry it to the river, or carry it to the sea coast, and they put it on a boat and take it to Ghana. Without. So I asked them, I said, well, how you sit here and allow foreigners to come in your forest? They said, what will do? That the government people, they're looking at the people. So they've permitted themselves to be robbed. They've permitted themselves to be robbed. So I said, in Ghana, do you think you will enter the people forest there before I said taking their resources? They said, but what will we do? So the local government, they've come to see themselves as helpless. Did you go to the superintendent office? They said, well, what will do? The government here. You know? And I'm told the foreigners in their rivers as we speak. In their rivers. So it's and maybe that's my people, and that's where I'm from in terms of the grassroots. So maybe I might want to blame somebody else and not themselves. Maybe it's a legacy from the misrule. that we've experienced where people have this huge fear for government. And they expect for government to solve all of the problems. So it's been like from generation to generation, they don't see themselves as having a duty and responsibility to hold government responsible for how they manage the affairs of the state. They don't understand, and we need to educate them more, that by election, you give those who are elected the power of attorney. The sovereignty of the state resides in each citizen. So by voting for somebody, you say, yes, I'm authorizing you to act on my account. But at the same time, you should every step of the way hold the person accountable. So we haven't gotten yet for this silent majority to understand that after election, you don't turn your back.
Okay.
You don't turn your back. That's what gives rise to violence. Because if it's not functioning and you don't hold them responsible, and all of us just sit the silent majority and we just allow the silent and rowdy and minority to just take all of us down, then at the end of the day, it comes back to us like somebody said. It's who we elected. It's who we elected, so it comes back to us. So when we finally, the silent majority understands that responsibility finally resides in you, the individual voter, then we not just allow them to run us down.
Okay, Council, we conclude in a few minutes for 2 or 3 questions. So, in the midst of all of this, the justice system, the rule of law, supposed to stand. When people see violence, wrongdoing as just a common thing, there should be a system, through the governance system, the judicial system, that should be able to hold people accountable for what wrong they did. That is the reason why, like you were saying, in the interior, when I was coming out too, I know that when the chief said no one abuses in his time, if anybody does that, they are remedied, so now they carry you in a bush. So in the midst of all of the, you being a former chief justice, where is the judicial system? What are they doing to ensure that people are penalized for wrong they did, for violence acts? I mean, let me just add one so you can talk about it. What we saw, clash, or I don't know whether that is the right word, but we saw armed army personnel in the street and motorcyclists getting on a rampage to protest, all those kinds of things. Where's the judicial system?
Well, there's a question I have asked myself, and I really can't really come to the conclusion whether or not the provision that in the Constitution, that provides for the protection of judicial officials, they cannot be held accountable for decisions they make while presiding over a matter. Yeah, I've asked myself that question, and I haven't found an answer, and I continue to wonder if that particular provision, which protects magistrates and judges and associate justices and the chief justice, whether the intent of the framers of the Constitution, whether that intent is being met, or is it being abused? Is it being abused?
When did you start looking at that? When you were there or after?
When I was there, because I was when I was chief justice, there was a judge in a death court, and so many lawyers told me it would just be so arbitrary We take so many opinions on him, but that's as much as we can do. It will be so arbitrary, and you say, earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. Take me upstairs. Because he knew about his protection.
Under the law.
Yeah, under the Constitution, not the law.
Under the Constitution, right?
The Constitution. You know. And in many of the magisterial courts across the country, they say it has become normal. Now the question of bail. Bail is discretional. Even with murder. Even with murder. It's discretional. Even with murder. Somebody can just come and say, oh, you murdered somebody down the road on 16th Street. And we say, you don't have bail. Nothing else, just. Yeah? You say, whether the presumption is great. It's discretional. But there are instances in my practice. I know a particular magistrate. He's not in the service no more. Like today, Friday, you actually send his men out to, his people out to create situation, people fight and you bring him. You want to pay, boom. Yeah? Pay a fee and the law is against that. But the person is exercising his judicial function. And you're asking about rule of law. And this is where the ordinary person feels the weight of the law.
Yeah.
And because I'm the judge, I know I'm protected by the Constitution. The Chief Justice can't do anything to me. The President can't do anything to me. And when I say anything, I'm not only talking about associate justices and circuit court associate magistrates. They are, it's before they're in their courts, the ordinary people go every day. You know, and the things that happen in those courts. So the situation has gotten to the place where people continue to lose faith in the system.
Yeah.
People continue to lose faith in the system. Because innocent people suffer for one reason or the other. Somebody has influence. Somebody has money. Somebody has authority. Innocent people suffer. So the whole system, the question of rule of law, I will tell you, it's like it's in crisis too. It's in crisis. Because I met people in prison who, yes, like we learn in the law school, there are three sides to every story. The plaintiff, the defendant, and the truth. But when they explain their story, they got no business being there.
And just to interrupt, Tiola Boyena is one of our viewers. She likes the part you said, build a discretional. Yeah, and that she or he likes it.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, and the rule of law is the fulcrum of this country, of us as a people. The rule of law, like I say, truth has escaped us. Truth. So if the magistrates, the judges, the Supreme Court, everybody look at truth. Especially the man, there's so many cases do not ever reach the Supreme Court. The ordinary people on the street.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, I think the magistrates do more work than the rest of the judges. The magistrates do because they see, the volume that comes in their courts. So it's from the magisterial level that we begin to pursue truth, honesty, justice. Then people will begin to have faith once again. Then people will begin to understand, look, if I'm Minister of Finance, I take the people money, I will be sent to court. I will be, they bring the evidence, The judge there, the judge don't play, the judge is after the truth. I will be found guilty. The jury, nobody will pay the jury, nobody will influence the jury. I will go to jail and I will take my family name down. I learned that my political days when Jiblo I will never forget it. One elder when I was in politics, he said, my daughter, the problem with the country, you all who say you're running the country right now, you ain't got no fear for your name. You don't respect your family name. Because if you know you will go to jail for taking the citizens' money, you won't eat it. You won't eat it, you won't take it. Because when you go to jail, and the reason why you went to jail, you know your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren will read about it in the Liberian law reports. You minister of finance. What doesn't belong to you, you won't take it. It's the rule of law. Happy for it. It's the rule of law. We as people who should determine when we draw the line. Say, okay, they things that happened before, okay, happy, but we understand the reason why. That's why I say we should do politics differently.
Yeah, from the onset.
Then the people in the Western world, the people who brought politics to us. Because I can belong to Unity Party, you belong to Liberty Party, the other person belong to CDC. But the problem in our country is common. It's common. So all of us should have that mindset that when my political party gets in power, will be on the principle of accountability. Will be on the principle of accountability, the rule of law, applying the law where it needs to be applied. I mean, drawing a line that will stop this thing.
Thank you, Joseph. So with this, what then can the judicial system do to ensure that it serves better the public, for the future of this country, as former Chief Justice?
That's a question, like I told you, I'm still grappling with because of the
right under the Constitution.
The constitutional protection. What can the courts do?
Do you support the calls for amendment in the Constitution? Others are still saying that. I mean, Liberians are saying that.
Many persons have even called me and say you are with the Constitution. There's a need to go back to the Constitution to correct certain things. Many persons have said that.
How do you view that?
Yeah. Like I'm telling you, for an example, this particular profession, there's a story, there's a history for it. In the constitutional law case called Henry T. McCann Stewart, where the judge, because the president of the day did not like the judge because he was too upright and doing the right thing and pursuing the right thing, they went and what we call Jr him. So Jr means the legislature came up with a joint resolution because the president, even at that time, could not sack a judge.
Okay.
Could not dismiss a judge. So it had to be the legislature, and because it was a one-party state, the Senate and the House, that what they call joint resolution, issue a resolution that T. McCann Stewart was no more. I think he was Associate Justice, if I can remember. Because he was too upright. He couldn't bear. And I know there are many T. McCann Stewarts
in the system.
And will come.
Okay.
So to change that particular protection for judges is because of T. McCann Stewart. That case, that the protection is in the Constitution for judges. That makes it judicial officials that makes it. Now that's why they say they come up with the impeachment proceedings, and I think you can remember Justice Janet case. They had to have impeachment proceeding in the House of Representatives before they went for the regular trial in the House of Senate. That's why they needed that long drawn out process. And I think we need to hold it. But how do we, start this thing? That's why when we were there, one of the things we came up with was they called the Judicial Inquiry Commission, where citizens could complain judges who were arbitrary, magistrates, judges who were arbitrary. That's why we established that. But if it's working, that's another thing we need to look at, because the inquiry commission is here in Monrovia. So how does somebody in the magisterial court in Cllr, how does he complain way here
in Monrovia
to the Chief Justice? So maybe those are some of the kind of reforms we need to look at and institutionalize to make the ordinary person able to reach that kind of institution. Because it's the situation in our country as far as rule of law is concerned. It's almost a pandemic. Yeah, it's serious. It is serious. And we do it so much, the judicial officials, that our consciences are numb. Somebody crying, somebody suffering, unjustly. Somebody, I keep talking about the coconut seller man who was in jail for 7 years for a crime he didn't commit, he knew nothing about. 7 years without going to court.
in this country.
Oh. When I went to prison, he was there too. Before he was finally, I think August or September of 2023 or so, before he was released. So the rule of law is key.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Council. 2 questions. So what's your view about the legislature? Was currently transparent at the legislature? There has been this political impasse since last year or 2. It still continues. There's a bit of information currently before the Supreme Court, filed by Councillor Funade Kufa and others, who is now considered as the impartial speaker, and with Rejeku on the other hand with his colleagues as the majority speaker. What's your reading about it? Even though you judges you now let coming on cases in court, but from the human side,
I'm laughing because people very close to me, they say, "Mommy, hardly all those things there now that you're trying to pick up yourself." That's why I'm laughing.
I know.
And they told me, "Mommy, you gotta, when these journalists come, try your best to avoid it." To tell you the truth, to be honest, and I know when they hear it, they say, "Mommy, we told you." That matter could have been resolved long time.
How?
The power of the Supreme Court.
What is that power?
You, Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, gave an opinion, and lawyers come and undermine the opinion of the Supreme Court. Yeah. Really, I want to. Really? Really? Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. You take an oath. You take an oath. The first provision in the code of conduct for lawyers, number 1, say you will do nothing to undermine the courts of the Republic. You get away with this? You get away with this? Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, thank you. That's what I got to say.
Thank you. So finally, I mean, former Chief Justice, former Senator, former Justice Minister, former head of the Constitutional Review Committee. I mean, female pursue career in law. How did all that happen, Councillor?
What you call that?
How do all those happen? I mean, becoming senator,
Oh.
becoming chief justice.
Oh, as to me,
Yeah, for
personally,
you personally, how did that happen? I mean, as a female,
like I told you,
with all those portfolios, so I want to see. I don't know how Jerome manages to reach your, some of your CV. So now again, forget about some of the achievements, but I want to know how it happened.
like I told you,
That's a final question.
I have considered the way God has taken my life to be blessed, because I had two women in my life that God placed in my life, have what they put in me in terms of what is possible in someone's life. Those two women, they take the credit for it. My father's wife, Gloria Musu, and my biological mother, Cllr, Newton. They told me the importance of education. They taught me the importance of hard work. They taught me the importance of humility. So they ingrained it in who I am. So I continue to push. I continue to push from school. I continue to push, even coming out of school. Yeah, my stepmother told me, say, be able to earn your own money. My mother told me, she said, you're not a woman until you can work for your own money, tie it in your lapa nose. When you want something, you don't got to beg a man. Yes, you need a man to support you. But what if the man gets sick? What if the man can't find job while he loses his job? What happened to you and your children? So those are the things they put in me that kept pushing me. That kept pushing me. And just making the children laugh the other day. We saw one girl, you can tell, I can spot it. When they're standing beside the road, you see the stress on the girl's or the woman's face with the baby on her shoulder. I said she been looking for the baby pie. She can't find the baby pie. Right now, the baby pie story there. It was something we stop the car, we talk to the girl, she will tell you about the baby pie. And from those two women, I made up my mind, I will never be in that situation. Yes, and God has helped me.
Very strong.
God has helped me. Looking for baby pie. Those are the kind of things that have motivated me. That I will never be in that situation. God being my helper. That I will struggle. I don't care what happens. I will get some skill. I will be able to earn my own money.
What inspired you to pursue degree or career in law and ultimately become Chief Justice? What inspired you?
Well, you can say by default. Because when I graduated from college, I did economics. I was working at public works. And that time, by the time the coup happened, my salary was $700. United States dollar. I had plenty of money those days.
From public works.
Public works. And after they take out the taxes or so on, maybe I would get $6.15, $6.20, $6.30. So, from making $60 going to school, my son and myself. And then all of a sudden making this pile of money. Then the coup happened. But then I had met my husband. Then my salary, all the different reconstruction tax, all kind of different educational tax, all kind of different tax. It came down to 333. I said, how? And I was the first of my mother's children to graduate from college. And of course, I got to look to my mother, my siblings, even on my father's side, and all of that. And then I was with my husband, $333. We didn't own our own. We had to pay rent. So I said, no, I need to do something where I will not, that's what I'm telling you by default. I will not be compelled to work in a government office. Still taking my two mothers' advice because it wasn't working. It wasn't working. So first thing came to me, why you don't go in foreign service? Because they had a foreign service school. So there was an ad. I started writing the application. I said, but I got all this responsibility behind me. So I'm a poor person. So I go in foreign service. And by that time, the pay started being delayed. Saving bond and all came in. The money take-home pay was almost nothing. So I said, no, I can't go in foreign service. I'm too poor. So then I saw the ad for the law school. So I applied. So and I went there and it was something that I loved. And later on, when I went to work at the Ministry of Justice, I met Mr. Bush. I forgot his first name. There were two Bush brothers. He met me in the Ministry of Justice. At that time, the Methodist Church was in another crisis. And the minister assigned him that matter to me. So when he came before me to explain about preparing co-warranto. He said, your name, where you from? I said, Maryland. Then he called my grandfather's name. He said, Gloria Musu died. Who is he to you? I said, that's my grandfather. He said, no mistake, you went into the door. He said, your grandfather is such a wise man. I sat in his court so many times. And for somebody who didn't go to school, not educated, can hardly speak English, the way he will handle matters, he said, I will be amazed. I was amazed. He said, I hope you walk in your grandfather's steps. So that's why I like to talk about God. Because if God had brought me where he wanted me to be. Because it just, like I said, it was by default. Because maybe if I had continued making the serious salary I was making before the coup and after the coup with all those taxes and saving bond and this and that, hardly taking anything home, I would have been satisfied because from $60, I started making $700. Oh, me and my son were in whole heaven. Yeah, so I just praise God for everything.
Thank you so much. So anything further we didn't ask, maybe you want to talk about there or something you want to say as we close up, that maybe I didn't cut it on my paper and you got something to say?
No, I just want to stress the point that we got to do politics differently in this country. Okay. The way we do it, we do politics with a lot of rancor, with, this kind of deep violence, and we just hold everything, we hold it hard. It has to be different. It has to be different. Our youth, they're looking for leadership. They're looking for a direction. And we cannot continue to militarize our youth. We cannot continue to turn them into militants. We cannot continue to just see themselves as living their life shortcut. Life is a process. And when you get into shortcuts, that's when you end up doing things and taking things that don't belong to you. We got to advise and we got to let the youth see in us. We got to live the example that we need to do things differently, and all of us need to have that humanity for our youth because they're looking for a direction. They're looking for a direction.
Thank you so much, Councillor Scott. So my name is Prince. I've been in a conversation with Councillor Gloria Musu Scott. This is our 54 minutes interview, almost an interview. She's former Chief Justice of Liberia, former Minister, former Senator of Maryland County, former head of the Constitutional Review Committee. I'd like to read a comment from one of our viewers. His name is P. Edward. He writes in St. Scout. Yesterday should be rating our young girls to read. And that's one of the comments here. We got 145 person following live. Thanks for following. My name is Prince. This is how we call the councillor. Thanks so much for honoring our invite to have a chat with you. We'll try to plan another one. This time around will be hosted by Mr. Dennis Jai and so from the States. But thanks for